What's up, y'all? It's your boy KevOnStage with the lovely and luxurious Miss KevOnStage.
We're still looking for a theme song.
Oh,
Still.
Girl, yeah.
So he doesn't have to do this.
Oh,
So very good.
Somebody sent us a theme song, and we appreciate you. Thank you so kindly for doing it. I forgot to use it because I'm an absent-minded fellow. But I digress. Before we get into today's podcast, we want to let you know that you can now get free books, free membership.
Nobody raises the roof still.
If you go to audibletrial.com/love
hour.
See, we said we were going to be sponsored.
We spoke it into the atmosphere.
We called it.
So go to audibletrial.com/love hour. And what I think I'm going to do is start a book club. And the way that it works is you get a 30-day free trial with Audible.
Yes. And you got to have a credit card. So if you or debit card, credit or debit card, Rush card, PayPal.
But it's 30-day free trial. Shows your support for the podcast. Make sure you go to the /love hour.
Audibletrial.com.
Audibletrial.com. I don't know why I have that. And then I'm going to recommend a book right now.
Please do. Okay.
So the first book I want to recommend, 2 books. Love and Respect. I finished that a couple weeks ago. Great book. And it just talks about a man's need for respect, a woman's need for love, and getting on a cycle of love and respect versus what he calls a crazy cycle. Really great book. The author is
Emerson Eggerichs.
Thank you. I wanted to say Gary Chapman, but he's 5 love languages. Great book. So you can start there. The book that I just finished yesterday, which is a phenomenal book, is For Women Only by Shanti Federman, I think is her last name, or Felderman or something like that. Also another great book. What I would recommend, which is what the author recommends, is she has 2. For Women Only, For Men Only, and they're complements to each other. The For Women Only book is for women to understand the inner workings, inner thoughts of men. And then the For Men Only is the complement. So it's for men to understand the inner workings and inner thinking of women. So what she recommends is that women read the For Men Only, men read the For Women Only, and then you can, if you don't get the Audible version through our podcast, or you can get the hard copy and highlight or make note of the things that really pertain to you, and then let your spouse read it so when they're listening to it, they know what to key in on.
Yes.
So.
And I'm going to recommend a book. God bless you.
Oh, excuse me.
It's called 25 Tips for a Healthy Marriage.
Can you see that?
By Kevin and Melissa Fredericks. That is not available on audible.com yet. The only way you can really get this book right now is by coming to our Love Hour Live events.
In Houston, the first one.
Yes. If you're listening to this podcast today, Sunday, May 31st, or the first week of June, the Love Hour Live Houston is this Saturday, June 6th. If you're watching this YouTube video, it was yesterday.
Sorry.
You just missed it. So this is the book that we finished, 25 Tips for a Healthy Marriage by Kevin and Melissa Fredericks. And we will decide how we're going to get this to you. Right now,
hand to hand.
The only way we can do it is by event to event. As we work full time, so mailing them is difficult. But depending on the demand, if thousands upon thousands of books are ordered, we'll call Amazon and be like, "What's good, Amazon?"
We'll make it longer then.
We'll make it longer. No, this is just a booklet. It's a booklet.
It's a booklet.
It's a booklet.
Yeah, we should be clear. And
the 25th tip is invest in your marriage. And you can do that by purchasing this book. So Houston, we'll see you soon, and we'll be announcing other dates throughout the summer. Killeen, Austin, potentially New York or Connecticut are on the radar for this summer. So stay tuned. Follow us on Instagram. That's Instagram and Facebook. You'll find out everything you need to know. And speaking of Instagram, that's where our topic today comes from. Melissa posted on her Instagram a couple weeks ago, what do you want us to talk about on Love Hour? And one of the questions reads, what can you deal with the topic of dating and potentially marrying someone your parents don't like? Dum, dum, dum.
His parents didn't like me.
His parents...
No, that's not true.
My parents loved you.
His dad loved me.
My mom... Okay, my dad loved you. My mom was threatened by you because I was a mama's boy and a mama's boy. What do you think I'm a mama's boy?
You still are, but I mean...
But not in like the way Think Like a Man talks about it.
Yeah.
What's a decent mama's boy that's not like Think Like a Man?
I don't know.
You just love your mom.
Yeah, you're going to go to the stereotype, so there's no example.
Okay, well, I'm a mama's boy. I'm her favorite child. My brother and sister already understand this. My sister is my dad's favorite child.
Hold on, time out, because I'm getting distracted.
Jason's just out of luck.
We're gonna come back to this, but I'm just a little bit distracted. I asked Kev to iron my skirt this morning, and he totally missed a complete spot.
Yes, he did.
I wish I could show you guys right now how bad this spot is. That is just...
Let me tell you something.
Not iron.
I don't have a lot of history ironing skirts.
I mean...
Men's pants are lay them out straight.
It's not that difficult.
Iron. It is that difficult.
Iron, sword.
No,
iron, turn.
there's not
iron,
even like
turn.
a
iron,
square.
turn.
There's not even like a good square piece. This is a corner that I missed.
Yeah, but it's not like it's pleated. You just...
That's not a pleat?
No. This is not... Okay.
See, younger in my marriage, I would have said, look here, man. Here's the man who ironed your skirt. Did you thank me for that before you said
I did say thank you earlier.
Did you say it right now before you threw me under the bus?
So you want like a sandwich compliment? Thank you so much for ironing my skirt.
Yes. You missed a spot.
But in the future...
I appreciate your hard work.
In the future...
Because then next time I'll be like, man, she thanked me. Let me make sure I get all the spots. Now I want to say, iron your own skirt if you got a problem with it.
No, when I want to iron my skirt, what do you say?
I don't say nothing. I don't know what you're about to lie about.
I'll iron it. You get in the shower.
That's because you take long to do your makeup.
It doesn't matter who's... Listen, sir. Can't have it all.
Yes, you can get up earlier.
I did get up early.
No, you wake up. You don't get up. You lay in the bed like 5 more minutes, 5 more minutes, 5 more minutes, 5 more minutes, 5 more minutes until 30 minutes pass.
I know.
That's why we always end up doing the podcast late. We wake up at 7 o'clock and she does not get up.
10:45. Oh, it's hot.
We got to go to church and you messing up because you won't get up.
Sorry. I own mine.
Anyway, back to the topic at hand. The truth is, my mom was threatened by the fact that there was a love for another woman. This is prior to us getting married. She liked you. That was almost more dangerous in our situation. She liked you, and she knew that you were going to replace her. What this person's talking about is they don't like you, and that happens from time to time. Now, what did happen in my family is we got married and the end of our junior year of college, and pretty much everybody in our family said not to get married at that time.
I'm sorry, I'm not.
Oh, Melissa's just opening the door and looking at me crazy like. Now you're gonna hear birds chirping.
Sorry.
The birds
I'm sorry
are chirping.
If you hear the birds chirping. Kev has these lights on, and I got this long sleeve. I don't know why I put it on. It's just really a lot going on. Sweating hot.
Oh, it does feel better though. So what I was saying is pretty much the people that I listen to most. My mom, my dad was always like, you do what you feel is best, son. But my grandma was pretty vocal. Even to the point of saying, if you marry Melissa before you finish college, I'm not coming to the wedding.
She still came to the wedding.
She still came to the wedding because I told her, Grandma, I'm just going to miss you. Here's the thing about dating somebody your family doesn't like. It's very difficult if you're very close to your family. Mm-hmm. If you're not close to your family, you don't really have that much of an issue. It's like, I don't care what y'all think anyway. But Melissa's close to her family. I'm close to my family. It was difficult to hear people say you should wait. You know, they had no problem with us getting married, but they had a problem with us getting married in college. And it was difficult to not have people on your side. But at the end of the day, marriage is about husband and wife on one accord. And it's very difficult to go against the grain of your family. But it's necessary because there's going to be times in your family, in your marriage, that your family's not going to agree with decisions that you make, whatever you know, things like that. And you're going to have to deal with that. I know there was times my mom or grandma we grew up in my grandmother's house. That's why I keep saying my grandma. We were born and raised in her house. All of us lived there. Mom, grandma, great grandma, uncles, aunts, and a dog. And I still don't know why we had the nerve of having a dog when we were as poor as we were. Like, let that dog go, man. Let that dog have a chance at a good life. Over here feeding him leaves. You know he wants kibbles and bits. Dogs on EBT and WIC. They don't have pet food on EBT. Y'all got some kibbles for the WIC? I remember on a couple of occasions, we would have like family things. Like my mom wanted us to come to North Carolina, and we were young married, so we didn't have North Carolina money. That's funny when you're broke. You just, whatever you can't do, you're just like, we ain't got no Disneyland money. We ain't got no North Carolina money. We ain't got no plane ticket money.
Because all you got at that time is bill money.
That's exactly.
Food money.
So my mom wanted us to come, and we decided that we weren't going to go. We decided we didn't have the money to go, so we weren't going to go. And I had to tell my mom, look, Mom, me and Melissa can't come. And she was like, see, she's already, pulling you away from your family. We just want to see you, blah, blah, blah. And I had to make the decision that, and this is kind of how I always make these decisions when it's like me and Melissa decide something and my mom or her grandma or dad or whoever, brother doesn't like it. I know when we were getting married, my brother was like, you spend so much time with Melissa, you're going to get married and change your name to Kevin Marshall.
I remember that.
Remember that?
Marshall's my maiden name.
Yeah, I was like, man, shut up. I flinched at him. Man, shut up. But I didn't change my name to Kevin Marshall, and she took my last name. It wasn't going to be no hyphen. Let me tell you what. Wasn't going to be no hyphen. But I always make the decision like this. Who's the one that has to sleep in the bed with me? That's the person I don't want mad at me. Grandma, she'll be mad. She'll get over it. Mom, get mad and get over it. Brother, get mad and get over it. Wife, you must live with, sleep with, look at every day. You want that person to be happy. Now, the other side to that is sometimes love can be blinding, and sometimes your family just has your best interests.
I was going to say that.
At heart. You want to speak on that?
No. I was just going to make the point that you have to be clear about if they don't like the person because of the potential detriment that they are to you.
Right.
Or if they don't like them just because they're being like possessive and don't want to give you up to a person that really is good for you.
Exactly. There was a time in our life, and this person's not related to us. This is just an example. She wanted to get married, and we were like, look, you probably shouldn't marry that guy. There's something about him that seems off. Something about him that seems wrong. And she took that as, nobody loves us, nobody respects our love, like some Romeo and Juliet type of thing. And it wasn't that. It was like, a guy just seems shady. Something about him doesn't seem right. You can marry him, and eventually it's not going to work out. We told her, and eventually what we thought was true.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm purposely shrouding it in details in case the person's watching or listening to the podcast. But that was a point where we weren't saying we didn't like him, or we didn't like him for you, or he was, we weren't saying that we didn't like him just not to like him. We legitimately thought he would be wrong for you, and he would treat you wrong, and in the end, it'd make end up making a mistake. And that's different from, I just don't like him.
Right.
Like, meet the parents just don't like, that's like, you don't like a guy that for no good reason.
Right.
But if it's like, I can't think of a movie where the person was right, but probably a Tyler Perry movie. The family doesn't like you because he's like had a bad past or whatever, and then that person ends up doing it. You end up trying to cling to that person just to prove your family wrong, and by doing so, you can put yourself in the position to let some of those warning signs go because you feel like you got to defend your love.
Right.
And you can tell, and this is what I always say, you can tell your family, no, you're wrong, you're this and that. But when you lay down at night,
you know the real.
You know that real. And sometimes
you have to go with that gut feeling.
Yeah. Sometimes it's better because we just don't want to say you were right.
I think I know who you're talking about.
We just don't want to say, Mom, you were right about this person. So you go into it, but if you know and you still do it and you end up wrong, then you end up staying in the relationship longer,
just
trying to prove
people wrong
a point. And that's not that. So I think there's two different things we're talking about in there. There's, so you got to go with what they're saying. They're saying, I don't like the way they dress, blah, blah, blah. Or he's not funny, or he's corny, or he's lame, and you're better than that. that's one thing. If they're saying he don't have a job and you're going to end up providing for him, or they're saying you came from these values and he doesn't have those same values, you're going to be expecting a Christian marriage and he doesn't believe in that, that's going to cause friction that's going to be difficult to balance.
And you will, you'll know it as soon as you get into the relationship. You'll know they were right. The trouble that we have is a lot of times we don't like to admit that we're wrong. And when we think we're in love, like Kev said, love is blind. And then before you know it, you're caught up in the situation, wishing you can get out, or wishing you can undo, or wishing you could listen then. So you have to know which side of the fence that you're on. Are you dealing with people that don't like the person simply because they don't like them? Or are they giving you legitimate reasons and warning signs that you're deciding to ignore because you're just so in love?
Yeah, is it Fokker or not? Fokker is like Greg Fokker from Beat the Parents.
I'm just so mad at you.
A Fokker type of dislike is I don't like anybody for you.
Right.
It won't matter.
No one's ever good
No one's ever going to be good
even
enough.
if they're really a good person.
Right. And that one is one you have to be careful, because that's kind of what my mom, that was just like, it didn't matter who. And my family has had a history of this. My grandma just... She keeps everybody at arm's length because, you know, people, she didn't want nobody to hurt her baby.
And they have their best, your best interest at heart. When they're that way, they have your best interest at heart. But eventually they'll get over it.
And now they're to the point of just calling Melissa and not even talking to me.
Yeah, like it's cool now. But yeah, that's kind of, so you just have to know. Because a lot of times we do think, and especially we get this like, when your family doesn't like them and then you want to cling on to that person even more and like prove you're in love even more. And you know, again, when you lay down at night, you look in the mirror, you know.
That one little tear comes out of your eye and goes into your ear, and you got to wipe it out, and you know you've been crying.
You know the real.
It's funny because what you don't want to hear your family say is, I told you so. And they absolutely will. We do it to our sisters, our brothers, like, we keep it real with them and let them make the decision in love. But if they end up being wrong, now we told you back when y'all was in high school, he wasn't no good then, he was never gonna be no good, and he ain't no good now. And you just gotta eat that, because it's like, gosh, you
should have listened. You
were right. Now the other thing I wanted to talk about is your family in your business, in your marriage. So what a lot of times, you know, the same part of being close to your family is a lot of times people share intimate details in their marriage to their family. And that can be dangerous because...
That is dangerous.
Yeah, that is dangerous. I can't think of a time when it's, you know...
Because you love your spouse, y'all been done patched up and made up, and you back in happily ever after land, and your family is still side-eyeing you like,
Right. Makes for awkward Thanksgiving. You know, it's...
And your family will hold a grudge far longer than you will. Far longer than you will.
So you over here now, Mom, she won't do this, she won't do that. I'm going to leave. I have friends who told me they've got mad. Friends who lived in the same city as their parents got mad and went to their parents' house.
Dangerous.
Like, I'm finna go over to my mom's house. When you get your act together, I'll be back. And your mom over there, she just like, you know what, I told you. She was never going to be no good. Then you end up, you know, forgiving her. Your heart softens. You go back and your mom is like, see, he just like a dog back to his vomit. Just... So that's why I'm from the school of thought is I don't think I've ever shared that detail when you really make me mad. Like,
no, I haven't. Not with my parents.
No. Who do you vent to then?
I might vent to my sisters.
Isn't that the same thing?
Only reason why I say no is because well, at least with my family, number one, you've been there for a long, long time, and a lot of times they'll, like Mel, she'll give me good balancing advice, you know what I mean? Or she just lets me talk, and then we chop it up to Kev just being Kev, or men or bitch just being men, or whatever, and then we can move on.
Yeah, I think that
but and it's never been like super deep either. But when I have been mad, like, let me tell you what this dude did last night, or whatever.
Like when you tell him that I didn't iron your skirt right?
If that comes up, I will.
Absolutely. And you won't say, man, what an amazing husband who took time out of his day to iron my skirt. Ah, he missed a spot. That's okay, slugger.
Do you need your...
I need my compliment sandwich.
Thank you.
What's it called? Compliment sandwich?
I don't know. Thank you so much.
I need a double-decker compliment sandwich.
I appreciate you for waking up this morning and ironing my shirt
starting you
so
on your
well,
way,
as well as you did, and ironing my skirts to the best of your ability.
Anytime, slugger. But I think
I got a Whitney Houston lip going on right now.
I think one key that you mentioned is if the person in your family you're talking to, sibling or a parent or whatever, is a balancing act, that's different than if they're just like a reflector, or not a reflector, but they're basically just jumping on whatever you say, and you just like, yeah, you know what, he is this, he is that, you know what I'm saying? You should cheat on him. Hold on, wait, what? I don't know. I didn't want to go that far.
But you should leave it. And that's, I feel like right now, even if I were to go to my mom, I feel like she would probably take your side and tell me to go take my concerns to the Lord in prayer and figure it out. Yeah, I think that for real. Because
I'm amazing as a husband, and she just knows that her other son-in-laws will never hold a candle to me.
Whatever.
I'm sorry, Greg and Nick's future husband. Got your work cut out for you. But interestingly enough, talking about your mom, there was a time when your mom was really, really mad at me very early in our marriage. She had foster kids. Melissa's family always had foster kids. And they wanted us to, babe, this is like less than 3 months in, 6 months in.
Yeah, we were young, yeah.
We were young.
Definitely less than a year.
And Melissa's mom was like, I need you guys to watch this foster kid. I got to do something. I didn't even spend the night. And I was like, no, I don't mind watching him, but you got to come pick him up or we'll drop him off. He's not spending the night. We were just newly married.
It was such an awkward position.
Yeah. And I was like, this is not happening. I ain't really no fan of people spending the night. And we didn't have kids at the time. So it wasn't like, okay, if he spends the night, then my kids spend the night and I get something out of it. She was just like, she didn't really ask. It was more like, I'm telling you to do something you're going to do. And I was like, no. And she was like, well, let me talk to Melissa. I was like, the answer is no. I'm the man of the house. The answer is no. And Melissa's mom got mad. She was like, I'm not doing nothing for y'all. Nothing, you know.
She listens to this podcast. I'm sure I'll get a phone call tomorrow about this.
I love you, Mom. But a couple weeks after that, she called me and was like, you know what? You were right. As the man, I was wrong. I respect that. And shout out to you for standing up. The reason I bring that point up is because the only reason that worked is because you and I made a decision and we stuck to that with our family. And that's the same thing we did when my mom and them, you know, we made the same decision. Now, if I would have said no and then your mom called you and said, listen, we're going to do this, and you would have said yes, then you undermine me and as a husband, and now we got a problem. Your mom gets what she wants and we got a problem. And that's why, even if, like, because the time in North Carolina, I really wanted to go. I really wanted to go. And I knew my mom would, like, she's the master guilt tripper. She's just like,
lays it on thick.
Woe is me. I guess my great grandma was the queen of this. But my mom's a great guilt tripper, and I didn't want her to do it. And I really wanted to see them, but we really didn't have the money. But so there's two examples where Melissa and I needed each other to make the united front. And if you don't do that, then you can't stand up to your family or anybody else, because what's going to happen is you're going to do something, the other person's not going to back you up, and it's going to undermine you, and that's going to drive resentment towards you. Now, your mom or dad or whoever is going to be like, see, you know what I mean? Like, it's going to work for them. They're going to be completely happy, and y'all looking at each other, staring at each other mad in the bed because you didn't back me up.
Good point.
Thank you. I don't have much more to say on this topic.
I think you nailed it.
Okay. So this is a shorter podcast, but hey, we only make them as long as they need to be to get the point across. But to summarize, if your family doesn't like who you are dating or plan on marrying, you must ask yourself, is it a Fokker type of like? Which is, I'm just not going to like them no matter what they do, or is it legitimate concern type of like? And then give them the absolute thing. Like, if they're saying, you know, I mean, give yourself the truth.
Yeah, be honest with yourself.
Be honest with yourself. Be real. Are their concerns legitimate? Or are their concerns just out of emotion, out of fear of losing you?
And pray about it. You were about to say that?
No, but I'm glad you did. And pray about it. That God reveal unto you.
Yeah.
The truth about them, because sometimes they're just trying to help, and sometimes they just, you know, are being family and they just want you to themselves.
And you'll know the difference, but if you're just being blind to the person's fault or whatever detriments that they may have to you, you should pray about it and ask God to reveal to you the concerns that your family has, so that way you can see the person for who they are, good or bad.
Yeah, and if you're married, same thing, really. Because sometimes they'll be warning you about this person, and you got to ask yourself the hard question. But if you guys are making a decision, you have to be a united front. You have to be a united front. Otherwise, your family can undermine your marriage. Family can ruin marriage.
And what'll happen is, because whoever the spouse is will always end up being the bad guy.
Yes.
And nobody likes to feel like the bad guy.
Right.
So and it's because he'll say no, but you can come to me and I'll say yes, and I'll take care of it.
Same thing with kids.
Same thing with kids. And you don't want that, because again, that brings strife to your home, and your family goes home happy and you go home miserable.
Right. So don't let your family run your marriage, but don't let the fact that they are your family allow you to make a bad decision going into marriage if what they're saying is true and not a legitimate concern.
Right. So
just see both sides of it, because sometimes you just be like, I don't want to listen to you. Y'all know what's best for you. And a lot of times they do. So that part is difficult. Nobody, me and Melissa wanted to make this disclaimer. We forgot to say at the beginning of the podcast. Did. But the things we say are not 100%.
Right. No, I'm going to do it like Brilliant is. If you listen to this podcast and you agree with us, it's because we're experts and we know what we're talking about. If you're listening to this podcast and you disagree with us, it's because not everybody's the same.
Right. These things we're speaking in general. We hope the advice.
Very general terms, very, very broad generalizations. There's obviously going to be exceptions to every rule, and every relationship is different, and every individual is different. So I can say what I say in general in terms of women. He can say what he feels in terms of generalizations as far as men are concerned. But there's going to be men who identify more with what I'm saying, and there's going to be women who could identify more with what he's saying. It's just the way it works.
Absolutely. And with this family thing, without knowing your specific family and reason, or why your family doesn't like them, and your past.
Right. I was just about to say, nothing. The other thing is, nothing occurs in a vacuum. I always used to say this. So we're taking a very isolated incident and giving, and we're not experts. Let me backtrack on that. We're not experts.
Right.
But we're taking a very isolated event and giving our advice based on our experience and just what we think. But the fact of the matter is, who you are and prior experience lead up to the way why your family is feeling the way that they do. If you have a history of picking bums, well, then that's where they're coming from.
Right.
Your history shows that you have a bad picker. And so they're going to try to help you pick the right one. But if you have a history of picking, but at the same time, if your family has a history of just not liking anybody, and you have a really good picker, well, then that's a different issue.
Yes. So understand yourself, understand your past, understand your family's past. I heard this on a snippet of Erica Campbell's Instagram, and her mom was saying that her mom Honey was saying that part of the reason that Tina yelled at her husband and disrespected him and did all that is because that's what she did as a mom. Mm-hmm. So understanding that, the way you grew up, your scope of marriage, your parents, your single parent, your step parents, your abused parent, whatever, that has a reason, that has a part in shaping who you are. And a lot of times, this is a whole nother podcast episode, but the reason we tell people to spend some time before they get married is because if you don't understand the person's background and their family and their relationship with their family, then it's difficult to understand who they are. And I'll give you a quick example as we close. Melissa's mom is a clean freak, and so is Melissa. And I had been to their house on Saturday morning when black mom anger levels are at 1,000. House is automatically dirty. And she used to Melissa's mom would wake up with an attitude. So I go there at 11 o'clock and she's in cleaning mode. She'd just be mad at everybody. The house is, this is that stuff. This is here. There's literally, I always make this joke, but this is absolutely true. Melissa's mom didn't think the sink was clean if there were water droplets in the sink.
He's such an exaggerator. It wasn't that it wasn't clean. It just wasn't.
You weren't done.
You weren't done.
You weren't done if you washed the dishes, dry the dishes, put the dishes away, and there was wet water droplets in the sink.
And I'm not a clean freak.
Come on, cuz.
I'm not.
Yes, she is. Now listen, so seeing her mom in action when Melissa wakes up in this whole house is this. Oh, y'all are nasty. I'm raised by wolves. I mean, y'all are raised by wolves. I don't know who did this. I don't necessarily get upset with her because I know she's just doing what her mom used to do.
So true.
And it's funny because I told Melissa this and she told her sister this and her sister the same way. They're all just angry on Saturday morning because it's like a generational blessing passed down from their mom. So had I not known that, then she's just going to be mad at me. I got more of a reason to be upset. Not that I'm happy when she's like that, but at least I can understand that this is how she was raised. This is what her mom did, and it's almost ingrained in her. And she's not really mad at us. She's just frustrated.
No, yes, I am.
Because the house...
No. I am mad at y'all. Because y'all don't help me do nothing. Just undo what I do. I wake up on my Saturday morning when I could be asleep, clean, mop, dust.
She's not mad at us. She's mad at the circumstances that the house was left in disarray.
I was going to say one more thing and then you can close out. And that is, because you brought up Erica, and that is thank you to everyone that came out. Did we say this last week? Because we did do a podcast afterward. Okay, I forgot. But I want to say it again. Thank you to everyone that came out to More Than Pretty. It was a great turnout. We had a really, really great time. If you found us by way of More Than Pretty, hello. That's all I had to say.
All right, we love you guys. We
follow
will
us
see you
on
next
our
week.
social medias accounts. Miss KevOnStage on Instagram and Twitter. KevOnStage on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
And
follow
Snapchat.
Me. I don't snap or chat.
My teeth look good.
They do. And then you can find me also on Facebook at my name, which is Melissa Fredericks.
Look at my smile.
It's part of the reason I like him. Because he has pretty teeth.
Look at that.
And he has dimples. It's so cute.
I'm going to give you this dimple.
Shut up.